To know if somebody is demonically possessed, you have to look at their actions. Are they committing sin, transgression, or iniquity? If it's sin or transgression, they're probably opening the doors. They're often opening the doors to demonic possession, but they're not really doing it intentionally all the time. Like a transgression is more when you know that it's wrong, but you're like fighting the spirit of that. Like, let's say lust, for example, you're fighting the spirit of lust. Sinning is a different story, but iniquity is also just full-blown demonic possession, where you know what you're doing is evil and you don't really care anyway. That's when you're fully demonically possessed. And people that are sinning, let's say, because a sin is doing wrong to your well-being or to another person's well-being intentionally or unintentionally. And a lot of the Christians that are out there I see think that you can only sin doing these extravagant things. And it's like, no. You can sin. Look at what Jesus said. Look at what Yeshua said about sinning with adultery. If you even look at a married woman with lustful eyes, you're committing adultery. That in of itself is enough to sin, right? So, but it can be also considered as a transgression in some ways if you know that it's wrong. So you've got to make sure that you're staying focused and you're mindful and you're doing what you need to do. And then once you have the understanding of, okay, you're focused and everything, that's when you can dial it back and you can take hold of yourself again and you can reclaim your soul. But to know if somebody is demonically possessed, you got to look at their actions and what they're doing. Is this person practicing the occult or any kind of esoteric actions? Are they performing any kind of witchcraft? Are they doing any kind of weird sex magic or Jezebel spells or whatever they are doing? Like, whatever are they doing within their soul? Are they lifting their soul up in integrity and confidence and humility? Or are they falling into degeneration of their spirit and a degradation of their heart? Those are the few things that you need to look out for. And I think right now, a lot of people's spirits and demonic possessions everywhere are being exposed. I mean, we are seeing these poor people on the liberal side right now in America literally bawling their eyes out and smashing TVs and like robbing stuff at the store because they're upset about Trump being reelected. And it's almost like we're watching this TV and we're like in a movie theater or something, and some people don't really know that what they're watching is just a show. Like, this is all a stage. The world is a stage, right? And a lot of people are so consumed with the story on the stage that they're forgetting that that is just a screen on the wall, so to speak, right? And so a lot of the times when somebody is demonically possessed, what really happens is they get into a mindset of self-loathing or self-glorifying, doubt, confusion, and fear. They let the spirit of these things take over them. And why is it easier for some people to resist these kinds of spirits? And why is it harder for other people? Well, it comes down to emotional intelligence, in my opinion, and psychological understanding. And I'm going to try to make this as practical as possible, because a lot of the times people will see demonic possession and think like, oh, this is just some crazy stuff. No. It's actually not that crazy to think about, because if you want to think about demonic possession as a ideological or pathological platitude in which one person is controlled by the idea itself. Carl Jung said that people don't have ideas have people. And I think that this is a very important thing to know. Even that saying in of itself is an idea, right? But it's a truthful idea. And so how do you know the difference between truthful ideas and just simply ideas? Well, one is grounded and one almost alleviates the tension in your spirit, and the other almost encourages you to be emotionally disrupted. And a lot of the times, these people that are demonically possessed, they don't know how to regulate their emotions. And so, what I've seen in people that are demonically possessed, they really don't know how to name their emotions. Like if they were to just experience, they just say, "Oh, I feel like this," or "I feel like that." Okay, but where do you feel it? How do you feel it? This is like therapy for the spirit, okay? You've got to name the emotion and name where you're feeling it in your body. That's going to be another way where you can identify these demonic spirits within you. If you have the spirit of fear, let's say, and you notice that, okay, I am feeling fearful right now. Well, where do you feel fearful? For me, myself, I usually feel fearful in my stomach, or I get like this crazy, weird feeling in my head where it's like my mind is just like so many gears turning at once that I can't pinpoint which gear is which. Whereas when I'm in the truth and when I'm in the solid spirit of the Holy Spirit, that is, there's only one gear turning, and that's the gear of the Most High. And it's like I am just completely operating within His will, and there's really no turbulence in my mind. Whereas if somebody's trying to gaslight me, or if somebody's trying to convince me of something that isn't true, even though I don't have any proof to say whether or not that is true, that's when I feel as though there's too many gears in my head, and it's like, no, something's not right about this. Something's not right. And that's when I know that this person is captured by an idea. This person is captured by the ideology and the dogma and the platitude, and is not having an original idea or original thought of themselves. Demonic possession also happens because people don't know how to authentically express themselves. If you don't know how to authentically express yourself, which is much harder to do than, it's easier said than done. That's the main thing, right? It's easier said than done, but simultaneously, learning how to express yourself, you authentically, is going to be very challenging for a lot of people because it's almost like scary for some. I remember when I first started to become more my authentic self, and I started to really just do what I felt was right with me, and I tried to assert myself more. And one of the ways that I started to do this was at the gym that I was going to a long time ago. This was when I was maybe 23, 24, and I'm 28 now. And I learned how to assert myself, and so I started using I statements. Now, what is an I statement? An I statement is, I'd like this. I need this from you. This is what I want. This is what I need. And it's not about like, oh, I want this or I need that. It's not about an ego thing. It's about asserting a sense of self-identity and self-control and knowing what you want. And so when I went to the gym, and still to this day, I often play basketball before I go. And at the time, this was like 4 years ago, when I was nearly 200 pounds, I would always play basketball to start out because that was just, at the time, that was the most cardio that I could do at the time. And I tried going on the treadmill and such, but I always enjoyed basketball more. But now I'm able to go on the treadmill or go for the run outside or on the track or whatever. And when it's not snowing, because we've got snow on the ground. But I would say to the person, because I didn't have a basketball with me, so I'd walk in and I'd say, I'd like a basketball, please. Just me saying that sounds kind of weird, but it was enough of me to be nervous in my stomach. Like I was nervous to assert myself. I was nervous to really claim what I wanted. And because for so long, I associated with me asserting myself as danger, because that's what my household was. In my household, there was neither love nor God. And I'm not trying to throw a pity party or anything. I'm just saying that's what it was. And so I learned that asserting myself is bad. That was the psychological and behavioral cognition and psychology that I placed upon myself. And in doing so, I would allow demonic spirits to just use me. I would allow narcissists to use me. And narcissists are nothing but a demonic possession. Okay, they are just completely void of anything real. They're just absolutely, they're like a legion of demons. Okay, that's one of the reasons why their presence, even though you're almost like drawn to them, it's not really drawn in like a magnetic way. It's more drawn in a void way. Okay, they're just a vacuum of souls. That's what they're trying to do. They're just trying to vacuum up your soul because they don't know how to generate a relationship to the Creator. So they have to get their source is other people, and they use other people. But anyway, the way that I would start out these things when I'd like a basketball, please. And this turned into whenever I went to the coffee shop at the time. I don't drink caffeine anymore. For the time being anyway. I haven't drank caffeine for a while, but I'd like to drink coffee again in the future, but I don't know. It's not like a need at this point. I don't need it, so I'm not doing that. But when I went to the coffee shop, I'd say, I'd like an espresso, or I'd like a tea today, please, or just calmly asserting myself instead of asking like, oh, can I get this or can I get that? I noticed that when I started to assert myself, I started to feel more identified with who I really was. And the more I was able to put myself at my mental focal point of origin, the harder it was for these people to take advantage of me that were demonic or that were narcissists or gaslighters or manipulators. And even to this day, they always say new levels, new devils, right? And to this day, I've seen new levels with new devils, and it's almost like it's not that your discernment is always lacking. It's that the tricks that the devil plays, you don't always see coming. And so give yourself some grace for this and give yourself some self-forgiveness. And remember that learning emotional regulation is going to be the key to transcending these certain things, okay? So don't be too hard on yourself about this kind of stuff, but also understand that this is a psychological and spiritual phenomenon in which you have to recognize just how to interact with yourself first. And if you can take care of yourself, then you'll be able to take care of other people. Okay, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today if I didn't know how to identify certain kinds of demonic possessions. And when I do, and somebody doesn't know it, I'll ask certain questions to challenge the spirit. Because sometimes people will have ideologies, not thinking that they're ideologies. And when I ask certain questions and subtly challenge the ideology, not the person, but the ideology, that's when the demons can come out. And that's when we can really get into the nooks and the crannies of what's really going on spiritually. Because whenever you have a demonic possession, in my experience, what I've seen, and working with hundreds of people around the world at this point, in consultations and having an academy that we have as well, what I've seen the most is people, specifically with consultations, not so much in the academy, but with people in consultations, what I've seen is they have certain belief systems, and when those belief systems are challenged and completely dissolved, it's like the demonic spirits around them, by the time we have another session, start to reveal themselves. And they're like, wow, I didn't know this person was really like that. It's like, well, yeah, that's when you destroy belief systems and you operate from a place of pure truth, you're just living as who you are, and you're connected to the Most High in the most pure way, and you're completely aligned with everything that you need as a person. And it's a glorious and beautiful thing to witness. And glory goes to the Most High, but you're the one that's also doing the work here, and that's something to recognize. So don't get too hard on yourself if you're noticing that certain belief systems are being destroyed and now all of a sudden these people are not treating you a certain way. What you've got to focus on is becoming the best version of yourself and making sure that your spirit is clean and that there's no filth or dirtiness or any kind of spirit of fear or lust or wrath or any of the 7 deadly sins, right? None of these kinds of spirits are there, because that's what the devil wants. The devil wants you in confusion. The devil wants you to see all these gears in your mind, so to speak, right? And be just, it's all too much for you. Reality is actually not that complicated. It's paradoxical, but it's not that complicated. So it's just that one gear. Stay with that one gear with the Most High, and you'll be all right. Now, if you do want to join the Regal Change Academy, you can check out the links in the description box below. We have a free Discord channel that you can join, as well as a paid academy. And the paid academy, what you don't get is what you do get in the paid academy. That is something that is much more significant than the free Discord. Even though the free Discord is great, we've got 100 people plus in there right now. We've got about 145 people in the Regal Change Academy. And what we see as way more significant is the ability to interact with other people at a higher level. You get a group call as well as a Bible study once per week. You also get a bunch of different classes to try out and join. And the community there is just growing and building stronger every single day. And I do want to thank everybody that's been moving over from YouTube to X and Rumble recently as well. I do want to put an emphasis on moving over to X personally, because I foresee and I think that X is going to be a really big place in the future. And I would like to really put a focus on building that community on X right now as well. So if you can join, feel free to join there. The link is in the description box below. And with all that being said, I hope this message was useful and insightful. And until next time, peace be with you.